This podcast is brought to you by Legend Comics and Coffee in Omaha, Nebraska, located in scenic downtown Benson. They got a new location. It's absolutely gorgeous. Check it out. And by listeners like you. Go to Patreon/Two-Headed Nerd. Become a patron. Support this show.
Our story this week picks up where we left off last week.
Broadcasting from the ZIGGURAT at Omaha in caverns deep below the metro area, where our Lena Luthor fan club meets weekly, it's our pleasure to welcome you to episode 750 of the Two-Headed Nerd comic book podcast. I'm your head number one for this momentous occasion, this milestone episode.
Milestone. Collectible.
I'm the internet's Joe Patrick.
We got a foil cover and everything.
Rub the blood, bullet hole, the whole nine.
We're rubbing blood, shooting holes in it.
A shitty little plastic diamond on the outside.
I'm your head number two. My name is Matt Baum. In this incredible landmark anniversary episode, the Cosmic Longbox is forcing us to learn about Brainiac's new boo, the Brainiac Queen. It's complicated, trust me. Get ready for the THN TLDR breakdown of the recent House of Brainiac storyline that ran through Superman and Action Comics.
After that, we'll set you up with our must-read picks for next week's new comics. But now it's time to learn about more Brainiacs than Matt ever knew or wanted to know existed. It's TLDR time in the ZIGGURAT!
They were just giving different names, the numbering. I made the mistake of asking Joe Patrick a question. I said, Joe Patrick, we read Absolute Power. It wasn't bad, I guess. They set up some stuff. Hey, who's this Brainiac Queen? And Joe went, oh, you have not been reading Superman, huh? And the Cosmic Longbox overheard this whole thing and demanded that TLDR no longer be a segment, but become its own back issue show. And here we are for the first THN TLDR back issue show. The House of Brainiac. It ran for 7 issues. This was 6 in the regular series through Action Superman and 1 special. Let's start with Action Comics. The very beginning.
Okie dokes. First chapter was Action Comics 1064. The whole event, we should say, written by Joshua Williamson, who is the head writer of the Superman family.
Right.
And the art, for the most part in this event, and I will touch on when it's not, is by Rafa Sandoval, who is, I think, the regular Action Comics artist.
Yes, he just came back. I mean, like, not when they're doing the Superman Legends stuff, but he has been, yeah.
We did review this first chapter in THN 738. There's a note here, so if you want to hear our full review, head over there. We're not going to review these individual issues, so don't ask. We start with Lois and Clark kind of starting their day. They've got their own distinct routines. We get a drive-by of all the supporting characters. There's like a cold open with Brainiac's ship floating through space like, I hunger.
Real quick.
Something is missing, blah, blah, blah.
Jimmy is dating the Silver Banshee. This is new to me. She was a bad guy last time I checked.
And she does yoga.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
Any girl in that shape's doing some yoga, let me tell you.
So Jimmy dating Silver Banshee is a plot point that has come up in Joshua Williamson's Superman run since Dawn of DC. She kind of like reformed or whatever. It's a long story, and that's not what we're here for. But yes, Silver Banshee is now a nice, normal-esque person with terrifying supernatural scream powers.
And Jimmy's a sweet guy. He's got a hot Irish girlfriend. And good for him.
She and Jimmy are in love.
All right.
Suddenly, an army of Brainiac drones and Lobos drop from the sky. But Joe, you might be asking, isn't there only one Lobo?
Yeah, but when Brainiac shows up, you can safely assume
we're not talking about her.
He's got like every race in a jar somewhere, right? That's a Brainiac.
We're going to get to it.
Yeah.
We're going to get to it.
Okay.
The Superman family, of course, springs into action. Supergirl rightly points out that wholesale chaos isn't really Brainiac's style.
Yeah, he's a calculated guy. He doesn't just show up and start wrecking shit, especially not with the Czarnians, who are basically a bunch of Lobos. They all talk shit. They all ride hogs. Yeah,
they do.
They're all muscle bound like bastards.
They are idiots. Yeah, they're all idiots. Yeah. So Brainiac is after the smartest person on the planet, Lex Luthor's daughter, Lena.
Is that okay? Is
Not
this
Lex Luthor.
swerve here? Like, has she always been? Is she like Valeria Richards kind of Marvel?
The short answer is yes and no.
Okay.
And I know that's not exactly an answer, but
No,
yes,
that's
she's
helpful. Thank you.
I mean, not in the sense that like when Lena was 2,
Right.
she was having full conversations with Victor Von Doom.
Right,
you know,
right.
it's like not like that, you know, but yes, she is super intelligent, super smart. Yes, the whole deal. Supercorp had this AI version of Lex that helped Superman, like Ghost Jor-El did in the Fortress of Solitude. And everyone assumed that Lex put it there before he went to prison, but it was Brainiac all along. Like Lex shows up at Supercorp and he's like, what the fuck is
It's
this?
just like that Seinfeld where Cosmo Kramer wandered into the meeting. They all just thought he worked there.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Lobos storm Supercorp. They miniaturize Mercy and Lena. And every time they show it, I think it's hilarious because they put them in vessels that look exactly like those little screw top
Yeah.
reusable plastic
Yeah,
bottles.
like the ones you give your kids instead of like the big ones
it's
that
like,
people walk around with.
Why
Right.
is this how you chose? You chose to draw it this way, Rafa. Why?
So quick art thing. Mercy's just got a weird gun. She doesn't have like a gun hand or something.
No, Mercy's
right?
got a gun hand.
Oh, she has a
She's,
gun hand. Oh.
She's bionic. Yes.
Oh,
Mercy's
okay.
got bionic parts.
All right.
Again, see Superman. Lex tells Superman that Brainiac is after his family. He needs their powers for something. We don't know why. He's kidnapping other powered people like Parasite, Livewire, and Metallo while he's at it. Superman throws down with the Czarnian general, whose name is General Chakal.
And this is not an existing character. This is a new character.
No.
Okay.
To my knowledge, no.
Because Lobo later on, I mean, spoiler, Lobo's going to show up. But later on, he's like,
yeah.
that guy. Ah.
We will learn all about these extra Czarnians,
All
I
right,
promise. He looks like a bald Lobo.
Yeah.
But bald Lobo accidentally kidnaps Lex by mistake and bugs out with Brainiac and his army, leaving Superman the only superpowered hero in Metropolis. We learn that Brainiac has uncovered all of the secrets of the universe. Like,
All
he
of it.
peered beyond the source wall.
Got it all. Yeah.
No, yeah, he did. Like, literally. Like, the multiverse was laid bare before him. He peered beyond the source wall,
Right.
and he has accumulated all knowledge only to discover that there is something missing.
It's making him puke, too.
It's messing with him big time.
Yeah, he spits up. He's not puking. He's spitting up like a baby. Kind of. And like green stuff.
I
comes out.
looked at it more like he's vomiting blood, but sure.
Okay.
He aims to use the Superman family to find out what's going on there. Superman's only lead is the main man himself, and we see that the villain behind the attack isn't just Brainiac, but every version of Brainiac.
Okay, question on that. So when we say every version on Brainiac, we're not talking about multiversal Brainiac. We're talking about Brainiac
No.
through the years.
Through the years. And
Okay.
we're also not talking about characters that are descended from Brainiac. We're talking about different incarnations of this one character.
What?
Okay.
I thought they were descendants, maybe, but no.
No.
It's the same. So he like keeps
Brainiac
rebuilding
13
himself?
is here. Brainiac 13 is like an evolved version of Brainiac.
Okay, so for sake of argument, Brainiac 1, the dumb looking one that's kind of metal skull face, right? First, is that the Brainiac 1?
No, Brainiac 1 looked like a green dude.
Okay, doesn't matter. The skull face one, right? That was in
Yeah.
John Burns' run for a bit, right?
You're wrong. No, but I understand what you're
Okay,
saying.
he shows up.
The Brainiac from the 80s that had his own superpowers action figure with the power kicking
Yes,
action.
he's here.
That's from the 80s. Yes, that's from
Okay.
the 80s. That's when Brainiac was like, I'm going to upgrade to a machine body.
We'll
And
call
that's
him
where that Brainiac.
Brainiac X. He shows up, does his thing. Superman whips his ass, and he goes, that didn't work. Now Brainiac Y shows up.
I mean, I guess.
Okay, that's what I was trying to establish. Not multiversal, not your dad, but like
No. This is the same. These are multiple incarnations of the same being.
It's like an iPhone. Like there's iPhone 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 15, whatever.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, it gets confusing when you start numbering them because Brainiac 2 and Brainiac 5, they're all different. They're different characters.
All right, you know what? Now I'm sorry I brought it up. Now I'm mad.
So it's more like this. It's like it's if Matt Baum from when he was a little kid in Texas, teams up with Matt Bob, who worked with me at Krypton Comics.
Okay, that is
teams up with Matt Bob, who grew a big old beard and became a chef.
Okay, so
It's
not
all the same-
multiversal, but time displaced.
Yes, different
Gotcha.
incarnations of the same character
Okay.
from throughout time.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's like Brainiac teaming up with his past and future incarnation.
Right. I was trying to defend DC here and be like, see, they can do it without the multiverse, but it's like, yeah, it's still.
Well, but these are not from the multiverse.
It's still
so
pretty.
you are right. Next up, Superman number 13. You guys didn't see this, but I did a little like fist bump thing.
Yeah. It was actually.
It was adorable.
Yeah.
This is also by Williamson and Sandoval, so Rafa's doing all right 2 parts in. he gets a little dicey as we go. But,
yeah, you know.
Rafa Sandoval and Alejandro Sanchez, so he does have help on this
A
one.
little backup.
In Superman 13, Lobo is the Lobo, capital L, our Lobo, is raising hell in a Warriors bar in Coast City. They got him everywhere. They're like TGI Fridays.
And he's on Earth. Why? He says he's
I
stuck
will
here.
tell you.
He's like, they trapped me here.
So there are other House of Brainiac tie-ins that have very tangential kind of ties, like in Power Girl
Sure.
and in Green Lantern. In the Green Lantern backup stories, Guy Gardner was assigned the task of retrieving Lobo from whatever hole in the galaxy he buried himself in, and then take him back to a place.
And that's when
I think it.
the new group of planets, whatever, was like, all right, Earth, you're quarantined. You guys are a bunch of jerks.
There's multiple things going on. I need to, don't quote me on this, but I think that it was revealed that the person who assigned Guy to do this was not actually the United Planets. I think it was Brainiac, like in disguise or something. But that's irrelevant.
Long story short, Guy brought him to Earth.
Lobo's on Earth because Guy drug him there, and nobody can leave Earth because the United Planets has thrown a quarantine around the planet.
Let me tell you, Hal's not happy about it if you're reading Green Lantern.
No, there are many DC books that deal with it. Don't worry about it for the purposes of this exercise. Superman is furious because, of course, Lobo's people attacked his city. He's looking for answers. Lobo, and I love, this is such an innocent, pure kind of thing. Lobo just thinks that Superman and he are like roughhousing pals. And they just like get into brawling. Like he just wants to brawl for funsies.
Yeah.
But Superman is like, fuck no, I'm mad.
And he could tell. He's like, oh, you're pissed.
Right.
Yeah.
Brainiac is experimenting on the metahumans he kidnapped. He's trying to strip mine them for power and or parts in Metallo's case.
Sort of, I guess.
Yeah. We learned that Brainiac has uncovered all the secrets of the multiverse, except for what it means to create something new. And it's breaking him. I may have kind of jumped the gun there.
Yeah. I don't know if
that kind of gets filled in a little later.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's kind of what's going on.
They do kind of like hint at it as you go, and you figure it out pretty quick.
And like
It's
the
like-
stuff with the metahumans that we don't really see it here, but in Absolute Power, there's definitely a thing that happens where we go, that is why Brainiac needed Parasite and needed, Livewire and these other people that he took. Okay, this is making sense because he taught Amanda Waller how to turn those robots into the robots that they are that do the thing, take everybody's powers and stuff like that.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, that is also something we haven't got to yet.
Right.
But
I mean, we don't even see it here. It doesn't happen until Absolute Power.
Right. Okay. Yes. I'm going to hold my tongue until we get to that part. But yes, you're right. We learn so whatever's missing in Brainiac's mind, it's breaking him. It's causing him to puke up blood or green goo or whatever.
Right.
There is an implication that Lex knew something like this was going to happen eventually, and that's why when he went to prison, he turned all of his resources over to Superman.
Okay.
And we're going to get into that, I think, later on.
Right.
John, Superman Jr., managed to evade the Brainiacs, and he's out helping with the Titans, so we know that he escaped. Steel and his niece, also Steel, are still in town keeping the peace as well. So, because, they don't have powers. Brainiac didn't need them. Lobo has heard of General Chakal, but he has no idea how or why he or any other Czarnians are still around. He should, as far as he knew, he was the last one.
Right. He thought he killed them all.
Exactly. The city Chockle's gang took over ages ago, quote unquote, disappeared. I wonder how that could have happened.
Huh. I don't know.
If only we knew anyone in the
Is
DC
there
universe
a bad
whose
guy
MO
that
was
like
stealing cities.
steals cities? I don't know.
I've never heard of it before now. The United Planet still has the quarantine up, which seems unrelated, but it's not. But Supercorp's scientists figure out supercores.
The Supercore. Just say the Supercore.
The scientists of Supercorp
yeah.
figure out that a small enough vehicle with a cloaking device can slip through, which means space hogs.
We get to see the Super Hog.
Yeah.
Which is
not
silly.
that Super Hog, but yeah.
Pretty silly. Like they couldn't just like give
It's
him a
fun.
backpack. But
Whatever.
like, no way, dude. Lobo's
Superman looks
motorcycle.
more like a speeder bike.
You get a
than
motorcycle.
hog. Lobos looks like Lobo's hog. Yes.
Yeah.
People are gonna get confused.
Well,
if we keep
Superman's
saying
got
hog
like
in multiple different
Superman's
ways.
got like a Japanese bike, and Lobo's got like a
Sure,
Harley
right.
Davidson. You know,
Superman's got like a crotch rocket.
Like a street
Lobo's got a
bike,
Harley. Yeah. The Czarnians catch up to our heroes. We see that Brainiac is building himself a sexy lady.
yeah. So every Czarnian's as tough as Superman, basically. All of them, the whole race. It's not just Lobo.
Yes, and
Okay.
that is more or less addressed in our next chapter. So.
Okay.
But yeah, Czarnians, like there are races from multiple planets in the DCU where it's like they'd be Superman if only,
Gotcha.
like ...
Yeah.
Like the Daxamites, they're all like Supermans.
If they weren't dicks, you know.
Sure. Brainiac wanted Lena because she spent time with him in the future as a child and it chained her. Don't ask me any questions. We'll get to it.
Jesus Christ.
Supergirl and Superboy still got some tricks up their sleeve only to escape from their water bottles and find out that they're still tiny.
Yeah. I didn't realize they had been shrunk until this point, quite honestly.
Well, that's what Brainiac does. He shrinks them.
I
puts them in
guess
bottles.
I just it didn't register on the page until they got out and he was like, why are we still tiny? And then I went, oh, they are tiny. Okay.
Yeah.
Like there was no reference because it was just spaceship, you know? So this Supergirl says,
Supergirl, who is Superman's cousin.
I
Kara
know a
Zor-El.
thing about a Brainiac or two. And for some reason in her water bottle, she's got the little skull of a Brainiac thing. I guess it's a drone, whatever.
No, they caught one or whatever. Or yeah, maybe she had one in her hand that she had busted when they shrank her. Who knows?
I don't know. But she hotwires it to get out. But she says, like, I spent some time with a Brainiac. Now, this is
In the future.
Legion of Superhero shit.
Yes, this is a reference to Brainiac 5 from the
Okay.
Legion of Superheroes, who is a descendant of Brainiac.
Why would I know this? Like, what book was this Brainiac 5 from? Like,
Legion of Superheroes.
no, but which? Oh, that's helpful. There's only 12 volumes. Like, which one?
In several incarnations of the Legion, Kara and Brainy are sweet on each other.
This Kara is hanging out in the future with, like, she just got shunted there or something.
She did on occasion.
Okay. I just didn't know. I wasn't sure what we were referencing. And there's a Brainiac that shows up later. I'm like, oh, it's him. And you're like, no, that's not him.
I know. It's confusing. I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie. I'm not going to tell you it's not confusing.
This Brainiac that she's talking about is not in this book, correct?
No, Brainiac 5 is a hero from the 31st century.
Gotcha.
He's from 1,000 years from now.
Okay, and he's just
He
5.
is not.
I'm
he
stuck
is
on the
like,
numbers. The numbers are
like
fucking me up because 5 doesn't
Brainiac,
sound like a
the
lot.
original Brainiac Prime, Brainiac 1
Yeah.
is his ancestor. Like
Okay,
from
okay.
like down the family line.
So this Brainiac that we're dealing with in regular Brainiac Prime is your Brainiac 1.
Uno.
Okay.
Brainiac numero uno.
And we're dealing with different versions of Brainiac Prime from time. Brainiac 5
Yes.
is literally the 5th incarnation of a whole different person.
He's a completely different person. He's
Got
like a Brainiac the 5th,
Got it. Okay.
right? If Brainiac's kid is Brainiac Jr.,
He's Brainiac,
Brainiac
senior,
5 is
senior,
Brainiac
senior,
the 5th.
senior. Got it.
right. And so just like a quick aside real fast, Jeff Johns did that Brainiac story during his run where he revealed this kind of prime version of Brainiac.
Okay.
And he was like tough as nails.
Oh,
like
yeah,
as
yes.
badass as Superman. And he basically said, you've never met the real me. Every
Right.
version of me you've ever fought has been something I created and sent out into the world.
Right.
And so that's what we're dealing with here is an army of those.
Gotcha. And the Prime is the big beefy one we met in Jeff Johns.
Prime is the big beefy one that can punch Superman in the face. Yes.
Love it. In fact, why don't we take a break and dig into him a little bit in our House of Brainiac special number
Let's
1.
do it. Yeah. So this is an anthology book. It is, call it a cash grab if you want. It's worth reading. It's labeled chapter 2.5 for those of you keeping track of where we're at.
It's kind of a cash grab.
It's got three stories in it. In the first one, we get the secret origin of the Czarnians, or at least we figure out why the Czarnians are so hard to kill. They come from a planet that has a society much like any other. A lot of them are kind of wild and crazy and unruly, like Lobo. Some of them are just like dads and little kids, like scientists. Like Czarnians, to a point, are just like humans, except they cracked the secret of immortality, and Brainiac shows up on their planet to steal it. He captures a Czarnian city and leaves. Normally, he destroys the planet when he goes, but for some reason he didn't.
Well, he says, like, I started to realize I can come back and learn something.
Well, that's his excuse. But what they show you is that he saw a father trying to protect his child, even though the father had to know that there was no hope.
Yeah, but they could not survive. He's not going to admit to that. He even says, he's like, oh, there. He was like, no, scratch that. There was weakness.
Right.
That's a mistake.
But like, it's in the art. Like you see it, like he has a moment where he's like, I don't understand what's happening here.
And then he goes, no.
And it's not that like, and it's not that his heart softens. It's that he sees it and he doesn't get it.
And that's what was throwing me off with this whole, I need to make something new. I need to make something. It's like, oh, he's trying to make a girlfriend. Oh, but
sort of,
no,
but not exactly.
That's not what he's doing.
And so like this idea of Brainiac not really understanding this emotional component of existence is sort of a theme that's going to carry us all the way through. But he leaves Czarnia alone. He leaves. He does go back later because it's like, I probably should have blown that planet up.
Sure.
But when he finds it, it was a barren and wasteland because Lobo murders all the Czarnians. That's his history. And so it kind of incorporates, it's the peanut butter and the chocolate together.
Yeah. Well, he comes back and he's just like, how interesting.
Right. And he's like, oh, somebody already wiped out this planet.
Problem solved.
And we know from our own histories that it was Lobo. The second story is about Perry White running for mayor. Bibble Babowski is like running his campaign office.
Complete throwaway. You don't need it.
Yeah, but it's a good story.
Sure.
But,
if you love Bibbo.
The point is that in the wake of Brainiac's attack, there's a ton of like xenophobia, and it's all very ripped from the headlines, like white supremacy, and there's a candidate running against Perry that's very much like an alt-right or Proud Boy, whatever.
Perry's running for mayor. We should mention
running for mayor of Metropolis. Yeah.
Right.
And so that's what that story is about. Like if you watch the Supergirl show, it does a great job of kind of painting Metropolis, or at least the city that Supergirl lives in, as a place where like aliens have chosen to make this place their homes. And it's a side of things that we don't often see in comics, where it's just like, yeah, there are alien refugees that live here, just like there are, Somalians and Irish people and Spanish speaking people.
Only all the people you named are all from Earth. So
no, I know, but I'm saying it's a melting pot. And they're part of the melting pot.
They're an interstellar melting pot.
An interstellar melting pot, yes. And of course, only Bibbo and Perry White can save the day. It's a fun story. Mark Russell writes it. Steve Pugh draws it. It's great. This issue also does double duty as an absolute power prelude. We learn that Brainiac has secretly been one of Amanda Waller's benefactors this entire time. His various incarnations posed as the Council of Light that we have seen Waller talking to since the end of Dark Crisis.
Do we buy that? Do we buy that this was the plan all along? Was this the plan all along? Or they were like, oh, you know what we can do?
Buy it?
We'll make this Brainiac. It's totally Brainiac was the Council of Light.
Why wouldn't we buy it?
It just feels like, I don't know. They made a kind of a big deal of it.
I want you to think way back. I want you to think back to the first Dawn of DC teaser we ever got that had Brainiac's tentacles snaking all the way through it.
I mean, I guess. I just seem kind of anticlimactic.
Also, Joshua Williamson wrote Dark Crisis.
I don't disagree. It just seems kind of anticlimactic to me. I was like, oh.
Yes, he planned it. Yes,
right.
it was the plan all along.
All right. Does that blow you away? Didn't blow me away.
I read it and I was kind of like, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
But the thing is that like the Council of Light is a concept that comes from Young Justice.
Okay.
The Young Justice cartoon. And in that, it's like a bunch of villains.
Right. And I thought
we've already done that. We've already done the Legion of Doom to death. We've already done councils of villains in the DC universe.
I mean, I guess, but all right.
To just say that the Council of Light was another version of the Secret Society of Supervillains is kind of lame.
Well, in this case, it's just like a bunch of him. All right.
Is it less lame for them to be different versions of Brainiac?
You said it yourself. You read and went, meh.
I went meh.
Yeah.
But whatever. The point is that the Council of Light was Brainiac and using Amanda Waller to help him fulfill his goals.
Mystery solved. He needed other Brainiacs to
AKA
sit in those
build a sexy lady.
to sit in those chairs for the camera, and everything, because he could, CG stuff.
Well, he wanted Waller to be like, oh, there's a bunch of them, and there's a whole group, and they're helping me,
I guess.
instead of just being like it's one guy.
And she's like, I trust them. They're on TV.
Sure.
Yeah.
That gets us back into part 3. Action Comics 1065. Superman and Lobo are still fighting Czarnians in space. Meanwhile, Tiny Supergirl and Superboy are running around Brainiac's ship. They make their way to Livewire and Parasite, who are conveniently at full size because they are being experimented on.
Right.
They escape. They find a shrink ray. They bring our heroes back to full height, and they take the fight to the Brainiac.
Well, okay, so they got kidnapped. I think that's the difference. They got kidnapped by the Czarnians. They didn't get shoved into water bottles.
No, they all got shoved into water bottles.
Oh, did they?
They show it in part 1. Yeah.
Oh, no, you're right.
The Czarnians ran around, like they went to the prison where where Parasite and Livewire were imprisoned, and they were like zap zap.
The Czarnians had the water bottles
up
on their little on their belts with the little clip that everybody buys and stuff.
Yeah. It's like a bandolier of water bottles instead of shotgun shells. Brainiac Prime and Luthor. Brainiac Prime and Lex Luthor enlarge one of Brainy's bottled cities. It's from the destroyed planet Kolu, which is Brainiac's home world.
Okay, this is where I texted you and I was like, are you making me read some Legion of Superhero shit? And you're like, I don't know, am I?
I mean, Kolu is where Brainiacs come from. Right. It's a planet of super intelligent beings called Kolu, Colu. It was destroyed during Justice League Ain't No Justice No Mo. So years ago at this point.
Justice League No More Justice for those who aren't on
Justice League No Justice.
No
was
Justice.
The name of it.
Yes.
And Brainiac is revealed to have stolen a city from Kolu before it was destroyed. Superman and Lobo have made it to Hardcore Station, which is a deep cut.
Yeah. I was like, why do I know that? And then I was like,
that is pre-New 52 Jim Starlin
putting
weirdness.
Stuff into quarter boxes and going like, oh no.
Yeah. Hardcore Station.
Gonna read
it's
that.
not worth reading, but it's DC's. It's the closest thing DC has to like nowhere, right? It's a space station where the scum and villainy go hang out.
So we should mention Rafa Sandoval has help from Miguel Mendonça on this one. So,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
So they're at Hardcore Station looking for info. Enter Space Cabbie.
Is Space Cabbie a thing? I don't know. No
Space Cabbie is a thing. Space Cabbie is old. He's a goofy Silver Age character.
Oh, okay.
And he's just a taxi driver in space.
Right. So this goes way back.
Well, I mean, the character goes way back, but
Silver
not
Age.
like. You asked me if Space Cabbie and Lobo have a past. The answer is Space Cabbie knows everybody. He's a cabbie.
Gotcha. I thought it was like
the dude gets around.
I thought he was either a Hardcore Station thing, which I was like, that's ballsy because nobody read that, or a Lobo thing.
Nope. Okay. He's not an either thing. He's just one of those characters that you can kind of pepper in for fun.
Gotcha.
We find out that Brainiac has been kidnapping superpowered beings from all over the universe, not just Earth. They mentioned specifically Winath, which is the home planet of eventually the Lightning Lad from the Legion, and Brawl, which is the home planet of Cosmic Boy.
Okay.
All
right.
And also they mentioned Titan, which is a moon, not a planet, but still, that's where Saturn Girl comes
Cosmic
from.
Boy's from a place called Brawl?
Braal.
Oh,
or Brow.
like Brow.
Or,
okay,
or
gotcha.
Braille. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Probably Brow.
But yeah, I mean, the point is that those three names are known in the DC universe as being, like Daxam, planets where everybody there has something going on.
Gotcha.
I will not Wineth, but don't worry about that. Doesn't matter.
Sure.
Chackle. This name
it's gotta be Chakal. Chakal, right?
This name gets dumber every time I try.
Chakal. I'm gonna say it's like a Klingon thing.
Sure, yeah. Chakal. Chakal shows up with his goons, of course, and he offers Lobo the role of his successor. He's like, follow me, take my place.
Yeah, and Lobo's
the only catch.
Oh, sorry.
Kill Superman.
And Lobo's just like, right on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into it. I've always wanted to be in the gang.
Instantly.
Yeah, right,
like,
exactly.
Jesus, Lobo.
Lobo's always wanted family. Well, you shouldn't have killed everybody, bud.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have killed everybody on your home planet.
For a guy that's always wanted family, you committed genocide, dude.
Yeah, that's why in my head, the idea that Lobo murdered everybody on his home planet is like a lie, like a tall tale.
Well, it's not, because even they were like, it's all over this, you know? Superman's like, you did it. He's like, I did it.
The only thing Brainiac says is that the planet was a wasteland. He doesn't say anything about Lobo killing everybody.
I guess.
Anyway, in the backup story, this is the part of the storyline where I could see Matt's brain kind of twisting into pretzels.
Yeah.
In the backup story, Brainiac kidnaps his son, the occasionally heroic, quote unquote, former leader of Legion, not the Legion, but L period, E period, G period, I period, O period, etc.
And we should say Mirko Andolfo is drawing this, and don't get me wrong, I like Andolfo, but when there's this many Brainiacs and I'm supposed to recognize one, maybe
you came for the Sandoval and you got your Andolfo.
Yes, and I'm like, who the hell is this? What am I looking at here? Even the Lobos don't look like the other Lobos. They look like Mirko Andolfo's Lobos.
The backup story is by Mirko Kolak.
Mirko Kolak. Thank you.
I was going to say Mirko Andolfo is the one that draws the furry porn comics at Image.
So I should say they want me to possibly remember another version of Brainiac from a Legion book that I've only seen covers of. And don't get me wrong, talented artist. Sorry, tell me the name again.
Mirko Kolak,
who I like and has done great stuff. I just don't know if that's the guy you get to remind Matt Baum that this is somebody you may have seen once or twice.
When you're illustrating a story full of characters that all kind of look similar, it's a little tricky.
Yeah. Maybe you're like, hey, Mike Mendoza, what do you did that backup while we got you, you know?
Sure. So Legion, the anagram.
Yeah.
Was like S.H.I.E.L.D., but in space.
Sure.
They were like space cops.
Right.
But it was a bureaucracy. It was often corrupt. There's a whole lot of drama. Lobo was a main character, like a member of Legion, alongside Vril Dox.
Yes.
Who is Brainiac's son.
This is Vril Dox. That's who this is.
All right. Now, I don't want to make it worse on you, but Brainiac's real name is Vril Dox. So this guy is basically Vril Dox Jr.
So it's like if I had a kid and named him Matt Bomb.
Like lots of people do.
I would be super cruel though. So it'd be like Matt Bomb.
Yeah. No. So this is essentially Vril Dox Jr. Really, he's more of a genetically engineered clone because, Brainiac, whatever.
Not from the future.
No, he is a genetic descendant of Brainiac. So the closest word to it is son. He's Brainiac's son.
Okay. All right.
And he was the leader of Legion, and that's where he knows Lobo from, et cetera, et cetera. This Vril, well, I'm just going to call him Dox. Dox confirms that it's the hole in Brainiac's knowledge that's killing him.
Right.
That gap is literally like breaking his brain.
That's what's making him puke.
But is it knowledge or is it meaning? A sense of purpose. We're going to get into that later.
Oh, I see where we're going now. Okay.
And then at the end, the whole damn Brainiac clan shows up. And this, again, don't think too hard about it. What we see here are other characters related to Brainiac in some way that are not Brainiac.
And these are all these are not new characters.
These are all existing characters.
Like Mom.
So he mentions Dox's mother, yes, Lyrl, Lyrl,
right,
who is Dox's son, Brainiac the Third.
Not this Brainiac.
No, Dox's son, Brainiac Jr.'s son.
This Brainiac's son. Gotcha. Okay.
Right. And like he lists off these names.
Let's call him Brainiac Legion instead of Dox. Let's call this one Brainiac Legion.
Brainiac Legion. His son is here. His mom is here. Indigo is here. If you remember Indigo was that blue robot from the Judd Winnick Outsiders book.
Only vaguely, but okay.
And it was revealed that she was actually Brainiac 8 from the future.
Okay. All right.
But she's here as well. So these are characters tangential to Brainiac.
Okay.
And he has collected them all, essentially.
Gotcha.
And that is the cliffhanger. That is the end of Superman 14.
Can we just get to Superman and Lobo fighting again?
Pardon me. That's the end of Action Comics 1065. Yes. Superman, issue 14. It is the main match. It says so right on the cover. Hardcore Station in deep space. Superman versus Lobo. You got to have Rafa Sandoval on the art here again with Miguel Mendonça. So yeah, Superman's been betrayed. He gets hogtied by Chakal and dragged to Brainiac's ship. Lobo's all mad because he really wanted to fight, and Chakal shows up.
And so Chakal, he says a thing, and maybe this is Lobo too, because he has chains on his arms, but he's like, these chains are forged in the pits of apocalypse. So that means these, like, Superman, nothing you can do. You get chained up. Sorry, Superman. These are apocalyptic chains. You're screwed.
I mean, Superman is not all powerful.
No, I mean, I know, but like
limits.
Is there something about apocalyptic chains that he can't break? Is that a thing?
Apparently so.
Okay, so for sake of story.
It's a throwaway line. It's not really germane to the story.
Well, I was just like,
Chakal has a way to tie down Superman.
I was just
That's
like,
all you
chained up Superman. He was like, oh, like, okay.
Well, I'm sure he's struggling.
I guess.
But like, I wouldn't say that, like, the way Chakal points it out, I would say that his chains are forged in the fires of apocalypse.
I suppose.
But just because Lobo has chains doesn't mean that.
Okay, I didn't know if that was the thing that Lobo. That's why I was asking. Is this something that?
No, these were Chakal's chains.
Like, everybody
big dog, the general.
on Czarnia is walking around with their pocket chain.
It's unclear and
their
also
chain billfold that was made on Apocalypse. Or something.
He ties Superman down with a bunch of bungee cords,
right,
like you're strapping down a kayak on your roof.
And Lobo's just like, right on, yeah, I'll turn on you. Who cares?
Yep, that's what he did. That's what he did. That's what he said.
Whatever. I do not give a shit about Lobo.
Brainiac, yeah, he makes a heel turn. Pardon me, Lobo. Brainiac is gloating to Lena about his impact on her life, but she don't remember shit.
And she says, and this was a question, she's like, you got the wrong Lena, bro.
She doesn't mean it in a literal sense. She says, you've got the wrong me.
Okay, so not necessarily another.
In that same exchange, she says, I don't have any memories of that part of my life.
Okay, so it's not when she says you've got the wrong me. Sorry, but we've been programmed to read so many multiversal dimensional characters, whatever.
I hear you.
It's
and
not,
you know what? And we're going to touch on what happened to Lena a little in the future.
All right.
So no, she didn't mean like literally. She's just like, I don't have the information you're looking for.
Gotcha.
I'm not the one. Lex tells Supergirl about what he saw when he merged into Brainiac's mind back in the day. Don't worry about it. It happened in another storyline. Don't worry about it. Just take our word for it.
Yeah.
Again, we hear there are gaps in Brainiac's omniscience. It's driving him insane. He's building something to help fill those gaps. Sexy lady. And it is not going to go well.
Yeah, it seems like we're on like a Bride of Frankenstein kind of thing right now, but we don't end up there.
Well, except the monster didn't make the bride, but yeah. Brainy Jr., Brainiac Legion, Vril, and his mom burst onto the scene, and they save Lex and Supergirl from Brainiac's drones. The time has finally come. Brainiac pools his knowledge with that of his counterparts, plus the superhuman energies of his captives to give birth to the Brainiac Queen. But Brainiac Queen is now going to eat all of those Czarnians for fuel. It's a double cross.
Sort of. I mean, she doesn't really eat them because there's a bunch of dead bodies.
I think that there's some artistic license going on.
Yeah.
She doesn't like literally consume them like toe to tip. I think that she's definitely eating parts of them. Maybe
or their
she's
energy,
drinking their blood
or something.
I joked that she's saving the leftovers for later.
Yeah.
You know,
I couldn't tell what it was exactly, but it's like, I think she's like killing them and taking their energy or something. I don't know. Like a Highlander type thing. The lightning comes out of them and she sucks it up.
I think she's literally, so consider the idea, perhaps Superman is a solar battery, right?
Sure.
His body is supercharged with all like decades and decades worth of solar energy from many different suns.
Yeah.
And if somebody who fed off of stuff like that was like, Superman, and took a chomp, well, would they be supercharged or not? That's what Parasite feeds on. So Brainiac Queen, like these Czarnians in theory who have unlocked the power of immortality, they regenerate from any wound, except for the ones that Lobo figured out how to inflict.
I mean, sure. I'm just saying it's not on the page. They're all definitely
I'm saying
dead
it's
bodies.
vague. It is definitely, they play it fast and
Yeah.
loose. They make it look like she's eating them. She clearly does not eat them all because she's standing on a pile of dead bodies at the end.
Right.
But I think that's just artistic flair, but whatever. You've got a note here about Hank Henshaw because there's another line about Lex says something about Henshaw's design of Metallo is genius.
Yeah. So he's like taking the metal off of Metallo, and it turns out.
Yeah. Like Lex appears to be helping Brainiac.
Right.
But we know that he's playing, the long con. So the answer is yes. Early on in Dawn of DC, towards the kind of tail end of Philip Kennedy Johnson's run on Action Comics, Metallo was being manipulated by somebody posing as his sister.
And it was Hank Henshaw.
Guess who? Yeah, it was Hank Henshaw. He's like
gender fluid.
Like
Hank
Metallo had been defeated. He lost his kryptonite heart, blah, blah, blah. And like he's being visited by this transmission of his sister who's being held captive somewhere. And she's like, I've got the plans for you to build a new body. Like, here you are. Here's the stuff. Build a new body. And really, it was just Henshaw saying, Metallo, build this body I designed, and now bring me the stuff.
Right.
And so, yeah. That takes us to Action Comics 1066, Part 5. The fully empowered Brainiac Queen, except not really fully empowered, we find out.
No.
Is decidedly less sexy.
Well, and they keep saying like, she just needs to do this thing. And then she does a thing. And he's like, you're almost fully powered. Like, well, she did the thing.
It's like,
and then they're like, they beat her up.
All the juice from, sucked all the juice from Livewire and the Parasite, but they're fine.
Yeah.
Also, I think there was maybe something about, we're going to get into it. Brainiac's master plan, we find out, is to take his queen around the universe and feed her life from every world, including Earth, and all of the bottle cities that he's collected over the centuries. And that's a lot of them.
They keep saying feed, which insinuates she's eating.
They show her literally, like, there's
licking
like
a bottle on one part.
There's like a montage of like, here's what will happen. And she is putting a bottle into her gaping maw.
Yeah.
And it's like, she's eating them like it's a Cliff Bar. And she just needs a quick dose of energy.
Yeah, I guess.
I
don't know.
It seems
silly,
inefficient for a character like Brainiac.
It's silly. Yeah, it's kind of silly.
It's kind of silly. Yeah, it's like I built a machine that eats. I built a shark.
Right.
I built a Sharktacon, and I have to keep feeding it people. This is where we get into what was missing. Brainiac's got all the knowledge in the universe, in the multiverse, but what he's missing is the knowledge and the experience of creating something new that surpasses its creator, like a parent does.
I guess.
Even Brainiac Jr. is a clone.
But he keeps calling her queen and not a princess. That's what's throwing me off. It's like, okay, well then you're the king. So made a
parent
bride.
Is the wrong word, but he basically, he's raising up a protege. He's like, I'm teaching you everything I know. Now go be better than me.
Then say protege. Don't say queen, because queen insinuates I'm gonna stick my thing in you.
I agree. The queen is weird verbiage, and it's definitely coded more like I have given birth to life.
I guess. And he
I
doesn't.
have brought new life into the universe.
And he doesn't love her for her
looks. And I want to
looks.
fuck it.
He doesn't love her for her looks because she's terrifying and she's got a creepy venom tongue.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And he gave her sharp technology teeth too.
She's got a horrible face.
Yeah.
I mean, she must be made out of some sort of like nanotech because sometimes she's got like a woman face and sometimes she's got a shark face.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Lobo doesn't take too kindly to losing the new family that he just met. So he's back on Team Superman. What an asshole.
Instantly.
Lobo.
The Lobo turns were just a little too quick. And I thought, well, maybe something happens in one of these side issues I didn't read.
No.
No. Lobo's just a moron, I guess.
Lobo is like, which way is the river flowing? I'm going to follow it. Oh, it's flowing this way now. I guess I'm on Team Czarnia. Oh, Team Czarnia got eaten. I guess I'm Team Superman.
Yeah, hey, I like those guys, but now remember I liked Superman too. Man, that's a conundrum. Oh, well, I'm on your side. You're like, okay.
All right. Now, let's get into it. We finally discover what Brainiac wanted with Lena Luthor decades ago.
Right.
Like early 2000s.
Right.
The year 2000.
Yes.
Lex Luthor gave his infant daughter, Lena, to Brainiac 13.
I know this part.
Yeah. Don't worry about Brainiac 13 too much.
It.
You can go read those stories if you want, but we already discussed he is like a future version of Brainiac.
Right.
He did this in exchange for vast future technology that transformed Metropolis into a literal city of tomorrow. It's great.
Yeah.
It's so fun. For like a number of years, Metropolis was a future city.
It was, it's like, whew, you thought
it was future like future state, but not stupid.
Yeah. And it took longer to clean up.
It did take longer to clean up.
Future state, 2 weeks. They're like, oh, we took all that down. That was dumb.
Yeah. So Lex's spirit plus her mom's immortal DNA. Don't worry about it. Don't ask me any questions.
Okay.
Lena's mom is immortal. It doesn't matter.
Great.
Lex Luthor dated an immortal chick.
Okay.
That's it.
You'll notice I'm not asking. I'm just
saying. I'm anticipating the reaction from you and the listeners.
I'm not asking.
So Lex plus mom plus Brainiac super intelligence equals Lena being a supercomputer, the perfect source of processing power for Brainiac and his special lady.
Gotcha.
Because it's too much. Brainiac's like, it's too much. All the drones, all the cities, now the queen, I can't do it. And so I'm going to plug you into my ship and you're going to do it. And I'm just going to be a super villain that feeds civilizations to my queen.
Right. And that should just last forever. I mean, that's working really well for Galactus.
Nothing. What
just ask Galactus how easy that is. Like his life.
What could possibly go wrong? Superboy, we're talking 90s Superboy, who's still around, frees the Superman family, which pulls the plug on Brainiac Queen. Once again, it wasn't enough that they charged her up once and fed her an army of Czarnians. She's
got to be plugged in.
She's got to stay plugged in.
Yeah. Like if you unplug it, that look, we don't make a battery that powers that. We've got to be plugged into the wall. I
don't understand. And Brainiac does say something about how she's almost ready. She's almost ready. So I guess she's getting to a point where this will no longer be necessary.
Okay.
But we don't get there.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Once again, we are reminded that the elusive motivation behind Brainiac's actions is something that anyone who's seen a Fast and the Furious movie figured out right away. He needs a family.
See, I don't buy it, though. I don't buy it due to where we end up. I don't buy it.
I mean, well, okay, we'll hold on to that. We'll get there. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
I don't think family in the sense that we love a family. I think it's that he
no, but this whole
progeny and legacy, etc.
But it's still the whole queen and all that. That doesn't compute, Joe. It doesn't make sense.
No, I get you. I get it, man.
Maybe he's doing it wrong because he's a robot. Maybe that's just it.
He doesn't get it.
Maybe he's
the thing,
doing it wrong. Yeah,
exactly. He's going about it in the most ass backward way possible.
That could be.
He doesn't understand.
That could be.
The ship is breaking up. So the heroes are like, let's grab all the cities, the bottle cities, and get the hell out. But Not before Lex re-enters Brainiac's mind to shut him down from the inside once and for all. In the backup story, we learn exactly what happened to Lena and Lex, and more on that here in just...
That was the whole thing. That was we talked about it.
No, I did that.
We talked about it.
So basically, in addition to what I said earlier, a couple of minutes earlier, at the end of that whole saga in the early 2000s, Lena does eventually come back to Lex restored to infancy. Like, she shows back up and she is aged up some, and Brainiac's like using her as a sidekick or whatever. Eventually, Superman rescues her. She's restored to being a baby and goes back to Lex. The backup story addresses what happened after that. That's not really important to this story. You can read it if you want to.
Yeah. Whew.
I mean, it's important to this story, but it's not important to what we're doing. Did Lena turn into a Brainiac? No.
Okay, so
but she was definitely altered by
that. So she was altered by him, and in this flashback, she's just appearing as a Brainiac because he's like, I would like you to be in my family and be a Brainiac.
Well, yeah, like, so when she comes back as like a preteen or whatever in the early 2000s, when Brainiac 13 is like, aha, I've got your daughter, and we're gonna do villainy. She was green and had the 3 dots on her head. But when Superman rescues her and gets her back and she's a baby again, she's normal.
Gotcha. Okay.
So she does not become a Brainiac, but she was definitely like altered.
That was the plan for her to be a Brainiac.
Yeah. I mean, Lex was like, here, take my baby.
Right.
So Lex, I don't know if you know this, but Lex Luthor is a bad dude.
I don't mean like based on Lex's plan. I mean, Brainiac was like, yep, I want a daughter. Sounds great.
Right. I want to, well,
like you had sex with an immortal mermaid or whatever and made this thing and I'm down.
No,
I assume it was Lori Lemuria or whatever.
No, it wasn't Lori Lemaris.
All right, let's get to the exciting conclusion here. Let's do this.
The exciting conclusion. Who do we got here, Matt, on art? Because I know it's not just Rafa Sandoval. Oh, yeah, it is just Rafa Sandoval.
It's just Rafa Sandoval. Yeah, it's just him.
So he rallied for the conclusion, which is good.
This is Superman 15.
House of Brainiac, Part 6. Lex and Lena are together inside Brainiac's mind, fighting from the inside, while Team Superman protects their bodies from Brainiac's army. The only way to stop Brainiac is to erase his mind and all of its knowledge. But doing so will probably kill Lena, and it will definitely kill Lex.
And it may save Brainiac, though, because his problem is he's got too much going on, right?
I mean, but if they're reformatting him like a hard drive, he won't be Brainiac anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure he won't. He'll just be a robot.
Well, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I'm sure
right?
he'll be a good guy
comics,
now. Yeah,
sure.
He'll probably save puppies now.
So, but this is a kinder, gentler Lex that understands that there are things more important than knowledge and power.
Sure.
His face turn in the Dawn of DC where he's like, Superman, my way was wrong. I want to help you. Here's all my resources. It was all for real.
For now.
As far as we know.
Now. Like, let's not give Lex too much credit here, man. We've been screaming about Norman Osborn and Spider-Man, and somehow you're going to give Lex a pass.
Exactly. Well, right. All things come and go, right? So Lex starts the deletion. He does not want Lena to do it. He's like, I'll do it. And he starts the deletion. The Brainiacs and their drones shut down, freeing Brainiac Jr., Vril Dox, and the rest of the extended family, who I must stress, are not incarnations of Brainiac.
Right.
They are different beings.
They're literal family. So Brainiac can make Brainiacs, or when a Brainiac loves a Brainiac very much, they have a special hug and they have a baby.
Yes,
Brainiac.
Because there's a scene with Brainiac and his ex. Like she says, the mother is like, my husband, what happened to you? Like, what did you do to yourself? Like, he wasn't always this way.
And he's like, I wanted to make a queen robot that won't be such a bitch like
I think
you.
the point is that
in your face, or whatever.
Coluans are not always like they're not all evil. They're not all Brainiacs.
Sure.
They're super duper smart, but like he was a normal dude and he had a wife and he was like, no, the pursuit of knowledge is everything.
Right. He did stuff to himself to make himself Brainiac,
he made himself into
which
Brainiac,
made him evil.
And so, the family is released, but the ship is coming apart at the seams. There's no way to save all the bottled cities until Lobo, of all people, has the bright idea to shrink down all of the cities a second time.
Why not?
And put all of the bottles into the same vessel. So he makes a bunch of much, much, much smaller water bottles and puts them in one big water bottle.
Yeah.
It's like a Russian nesting doll of
Sure.
shrunken cities.
Sure.
As Brainiac's knowledge fades, he finds himself unable to process the emotions he's feeling. So like as he is lowering himself closer and closer to normal human intelligence, he's like, oh my God, I don't understand how people live like this. Like, yeah, welcome to humanity, asshole.
Well, sure.
We do this is our lives every day. Brainiac begs Superman, save Kolu, save the city. And with his dying breath, he puts the Brainiac Queen in a rocket and sends her to safety, baby Superman style.
So like you didn't learn anything. You didn't learn a damn thing.
He's like, my queen, you will outlive me. I may be he says something like, I may be dying, I may be gone for now, but you will survive.
Okay.
So yeah, of course Brainiac's coming back.
After all the knowledge I have stolen, I felt a hole inside of me. I knew that I too would die someday. So I tried to create something that would outlast me, something new. I give you all that I am. I may be gone for now, but your story is only beginning. And then he shoots the queen away. My queen.
Yeah. But he does that when his intelligence level is at 4%.
But
so
bam. And then he explodes.
if he puts something into her brain, it wasn't much.
Well, I mean, even 4% of Brainiac is probably quite
4% of Brainiac is probably a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the Brainiac Queen gets fired away, never to be heard from again. Just kidding.
So was this part of the deal he had with Amanda? Was I'm going to build this Brainiac Queen and it's yours?
No.
She just finds it and uses it.
Okay, so there was spoilers ahead for Absolute Power. Just the very beginning of Absolute Power, nothing too major. But prior to issue number 1, there was an Absolute Power like Origins one shot that came out like the week before. And it was essentially like, here's how Amanda Waller teamed up with these other supervillains. Like how she got a hold of Failsafe and they hatched a plan and how they started building a Mazos. And then there's another story where Amanda Waller finds the Brainiac Queen's rocket.
Right.
So Brainiac sent the rocket to Earth. Probably a dumb idea.
Just like Superman.
I'm going to send my queen, my legacy, to the planet of my arch nemesis.
Well, but I mean, if he's like, screw it, go mess him up, baby. Even though
the only planet
you can't
in
be
the
plugged, you've got to be plugged
routinely
go find yourself a place to plug in and mess them up, baby.
the only planet in the universe that routinely kicks my ass. I'm going to send my wife.
Sure.
Anyway, in that one shot, Amanda Waller finds the Brainiac Queen, and she is a blank slate because from all of the things we saw in this storyline,
right?
She didn't get cooked all the way, and so she essentially plugs the Brainiac Queen into like a VR kind of Matrix thing.
Yeah.
And spends 30 virtual years training the Brainiac Queen, raising the Brainiac
30
Queen.
years in the making.
So the Brainiac Queen essentially lives this false life as the daughter of Amanda Waller.
This is literally where they mean 30 years in the making.
Well, I don't know if that's what they're referring to, but I mean,
it's got to be. You said 30 years. It has to be because nothing else makes any sense.
I don't know, Matt. I can't answer that. I don't do DC's marketing. Hire me, DC, but I don't do their marketing.
I think Josh Williamson is getting a little fast and loose with some of his writing here and make it a little more important.
It can't possibly, of all of the things that could be 30 years in the making for Absolute Power, this one little bit of it, I doubt is the reason. But
what else is?
Anyway. So Brainiac Queen is now in Absolute Power. She's got a completely new personality and set of motivations, courtesy of Amanda Waller.
She's pretty hot too. She's not as scary
Go
as she
to
was.
Absolute Power to read more about that.
She's looking much better too. She's pretty hot now.
She's looking a little bit less like a Sharkticon and a little bit more like a sexy lady.
Yeah. I mean, scary, sexy lady, but if you're into that.
A lady. I don't know if she's sexy. The heroes return safely to Earth while Vril Dox, Brainiac Jr., enlarges all of the bottle cities, all of them that Brainiac has ever collected. I mean, except for Kandor, which we already know is spoken.
Okay, and that was my question. Kandor is not here.
Let me finish this thought, and then you ask me about Kandor.
Okay.
But all of the bottle cities plus the city from Kolu that Brainiac had,
Right.
Vril Dox enlarges them and merges them to form Kolu 2.0.
Right.
A gigantic melting pot of completely different cultures from across time and space.
What could possibly go wrong?
I hope that someone has a plan for that, because that should be a blast.
Well, I mean, that's Lobo says he's going there to hang out. Like, he's like, this could be great.
It's like in the 90s, DC had a storyline called had a series. It was an ongoing series called Green Lantern Mosaic.
Right.
And I know that you've seen those in the back issue bins.
I remember.
You've
I read
priced them. You've put them in the comic bins.
Yeah.
Basically, Mosaic was a planet in the DC universe that was very similar, thrown together from pieces of different worlds.
Sure.
And John Stewart was the Green Lantern assigned to protect it.
Right.
And so this is very much Mosaic. But yeah, it's races that Brainiac has bottled literally probably centuries worth.
Sure.
So these people could be hundreds of years old.
It's not literally probably. It's either literally or probably.
I think it is. I think it's
we'll just say
certainly.
It has to be centuries worth.
It's got to be. Like, yeah, because he didn't like capture them all in the last 10 years. He's been doing this for eons. Superman and Lobo part as frenemies. Superman reunites with Lois, and we have a happy ending. Or do we? Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
No, you're forgetting
You had
big.
a question about Kandor.
Well, so Kandor is on New Krypton.
Kandor is on New Krypton, which you can read about in the pages of Neil Before Zod.
Yes, and I have been reading that, and it just
by Dan McDade.
Yes.
Yeah. Lena shows up with Lex in the cliffhanger to reveal that Lex's own mind has been erased.
He broke his brain.
Even though he survived, his brain has been erased.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, and this is the real cliffhanger, Doomsday is coming. It is a perfect recreation of those pages from before the death of Superman, where it was those one-page teasers of Doomsday punching his way out of a cage.
Yeah.
Doomsday's coming, baby. It's happening.
But this has nothing to do with, is this part of Absolute Power?
No. Well, I don't know. No. I don't think so. Not Absolute Power.
But it's certainly nothing to do with.
I think it's actually, this is foreshadowing DC All In, where all of the books start with big new storylines.
Okay.
When the books resume after Absolute Power, when regular programming resumes, Doomsday is on tap for without one of the first big new storylines.
On another hour-long rabbit hole, where was Doomsday last time we saw him?
No clue.
Okay, doesn't matter. We'll find out.
I don't know. I didn't look it up. I have no idea.
We're gonna find out where he was. That's probably part of
he's in prison somewhere. Yeah, obviously,
and it looks like a scab. It's gross.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly looking. Yeah, it's not a like. Is he busting out of hell? I don't know.
Source wall or something? I don't know.
I could be. I honestly don't know.
All right, so we did it. There we are.
That was your TLDR. House of Brainiac. It's a little bit silly.
It was a little silly.
It's got some cheesy parts.
It was a little silly, and I guess when I read Absolute Power and I read the Brainiac Queen, I guess I thought I didn't know this was what we were gonna get. Basically, I didn't know this was the story of how she got there.
Well, right. Essentially, Joshua Williamson spent all of this time building the Brainiac Queen, only to wipe her like a hard drive and then hand her off to Mark Waid.
Yeah, I guess. So, all right. I mean, fine, whatever.
Well, I mean, sure. The point of the story was not the Brainiac Queen. It was Brainiac's quest for meaning or whatever.
I guess so. And I think some of that just kind of got lost in the weirdness of the whole queen or protege or daughter or
the way they talk about it, when it's clearly like everything about it screams Brainiac wants to be a dad. Brainiac wants to be a dad.
Yeah, because if he wants to be a dad, then why did he make a wife? That's gross.
Right, exactly. Well, right.
And someone should have said out loud, hey, Brainiac, here's how I can prove you know anything about family. If you want to be a dad, why would you make a wife? We don't have sex with our kids. That's gross. Yeah,
it's like, if you wanted to be a dad, why don't you try to be a father to the clone you made?
Sure. You are a dad.
Your grandson.
Yeah. I don't know. Look, whatever. Was this terrible? No. Was it great?
I thought it was fun. I think it's fun.
I thought it was fine.
It's got some cheesy stuff.
I thought it was fine. It's fine.
I think it's a fun little epic action story.
Sure.
It's the sort of thing. It's like a summer blockbuster. You can read it and you can put it down. You can be like, and then that's it.
I think I feel the same way about the Brainiac Queen than I do Failsafe. Like, kind of don't need either one.
I'll tell you what, that short story in that Absolute Power one shot did more to make me care about the Brainiac Queen than anything I read for this storyline.
Okay. So maybe with that in mind, well, even with
it
that
actually
in mind,
gives her a character.
I would still be like, well, they sure had plenty of issues to develop that, and they didn't.
Sure. But I mean, they did something to tie her to Amanda Waller.
Sure.
Because why would Brainiac help? Why would the Brainiac Queen help Amanda Waller?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
I'm not saying it's a leave.
So-
It's a skim it. Skim it. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a buy it. I think it's fun. I think the Superman books right now are both really good. And I think Joshua Williamson's doing a great job. Yes, this story had some cheesy stuff.
Yeah.
I happen to like some of the cheesy stuff when it comes to Superman.
I happen to like some of the cheesy stuff when it comes to Superman, too. It's just there's too much Superman family.
I think Brainiac's motivations are weird and unclear.
And if you're trying to frame that with like Superman has a family, now Brainiac wants a family. You didn't do it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he did it because he was jealous of Superman.
No.
I think it's like you've got all the knowledge in the universe except for what it means to be able to pass that knowledge on to something.
I suppose.
You know,
Sure.
It's like, oh, okay,
Sure.
poetic. Except they made it weird by having him create a sexy lady bot.
Just don't call her queen, man. It's fine.
Yeah,
Be fine.
exactly. Don't call it queen.
Yeah.
Just don't.
My daughter or whatever. I don't know.
If you've got any more questions about anything Brainiac or Superman or Legion related, hit me up.
I think we answered all of them. I think we
I'm
answered
into it.
all of them.
I will talk to you about Lena Luthor and Brainiac 13 at length.
Joe, you don't need to print that many Lena Luthor fan club flyers. You're the only member, buddy. Let's head up to the THN Sanctum Sanctorum and discuss something.
It makes me feel good about myself.
Let's discuss something people do care about: next week's comics and our must-read picks. If these nerds only bought one comic book on Wednesday, August 7th, at their local comic book store, what are they buying, Joe Patrick?
You know that's not how I do it.
That's how this
works. Okay.
That's how this works.
It works however I want it to work.
There are rules.
My pick for next week is Uncanny X-Men #1 from Marvel Comics. It's written by Gail Simone with art by David Marquez. It's 40 pages for $4.99. Here's your solicit.
X-Men.
Professor X... ... is gone. A core group of essential X-Men rise from the ashes to face a world without a home and without Professor X. All bonds among the mutant community seem to be slipping away, and Rogue reluctantly finds herself as the hero designated to bring them back together. But a fearless, malignant power is out there hunting mutants, and it has a terrible secret that may destroy what remains of the X-Men.
X-Men.
Do we have any hints? Do we know what it is?
Well, I know that in the preview they fight Quetzalcoatl or something.
That's not it. That's not
I don't think that's the villain they're referring to.
That's some side bullshit. We'll see.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've been looking forward to this one a lot, more than the self-titled X or the adjectiveless X-Men, more than any of the side books. This is the book I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
The Return of Uncanny X-Men, in the From the Ashes preview book that Marvel put out a few weeks ago. The preview of it is excellent. The art is gorgeous.
Well, yes, David Marquez. That guy's insane. Of course.
I'm very, very
This one's got a lot to live up to, though. I've been a little let down by a lot of these, and this one, it better do it. I need to feel better about the X-ray.
Well, it's got all your favorites, Rogue and Gambit.
It's not. Look, I'm not saying that they're set up for success.
What could go wrong? Oh, and Jubilee, I think.
Yep, Jubilee's here too. Oh yeah, everything Matt Baum loves, all rolled up into an X burrito.
All that's missing is Marrow.
That's why my pick for next week is the Power Fantasy #1 from Image. It's written by XX writer Kieran Gillen, art by Casper Wingard. 40 pages, $3.99. Here's your solicit. Superpowered. You have certain preconceptions. They're incorrect. Here, That word is a specific technical definition, namely, any individual with the destructive capacity of the nuclear arsenal of the USA.
Yikes.
There are 6 such people on Earth. The planet's survival relies on them never coming into conflict. Come dance to the ticking of the doomsday clock with Kieran Gillen, who worked on The Wicked and the Divine, and Die, and Casper Wingard of Homesick Pilots, and All Against All. The eternal fight against fighting starts now. Gillen is so good at this shit. Take what would otherwise be, in any other book, a post-apocalyptic battle royale between 6 people that can destroy the world, and put a plot together where they literally can't fight, or it will end the world. This is going to be great.
Sounds fun.
And Casper Wingard, so goddamn good. Like,
I love him.
Breathtakingly good art. Oh,
yeah, love that dude. The THN must-read trade for next week is Faceless and the Family. It is a hardcover from Oni Press. It's written and drawn by Matt Lesniewski. It's 144 pages for $24.99, and you may remember us reviewing number 1 on the show some weeks back.
yeah.
Some months back.
We
I
really
guess.
liked it. It was wild.
Here's the solicit. From the magnificently distorted imagination of Eisner Award-nominated cartoonist Matt Lesniewski.
He a crazy
Matt,
person.
I'm sorry. I know that I'm not saying that right.
No, I think you are. I think that's probably as close as you're going to get.
Matt worked on Mind Management Bootleg and Crimson Flower. Oh, that Crimson Flower book. Wow,
I did not read
gorgeous
that. I
and
heard
weird.
it was amazing.
Comes a new milestone in comic book storytelling that must be seen to be believed. Faceless and the Family. On the broken and warped world known as the Hand Planet, the Wanderer, simply called Faceless, ekes out an existence on the margins to escape the shame that cost him his name and his identity. Exiled for his crimes, Faceless now calls the Wastelands his home, until the good fortune of fate delivers him a mismatched band of fellow travelers who will soon become family. If they can survive a suicidal mission into the Hand Planet's class-segregated finger cities to restore what lies beneath Faceless's helmet, and with it, his hope in humanity.
You know, so nothing new. Treading some common ground here that we've all read before.
Yeah, you know, it's dime a dozen. If you've read one, you read them all. No, this book is phenomenal. And Matt actually reached out and said, hey, trade's out. You want to talk about the book? And I was like, yes, I do. Please do it. He sent us the rest of the series. I'm excited to dig in. But if you haven't read Faceless and the Family, please read it. It's so great. And his talent is off the charts.
Yeah, he's a crazy person. And this stuff, just like, if he doesn't get it out, I think he'll die. Because every time his next project is even nuttier than the last one. And you're like, what, dude?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Someday we'll be talking about this guy.
Yeah, he's amazing.
You know,
We're talking about him now.
I mean, like people will be.
You'll figure it out, kid.
Talking about his
someday
talent.
you'll be famous in Joe Patrick's mind, but for now,
That's not what I meant to you.
check out our show notes for more on these comics. Be sure to grab our must-read picks. If you want to read along with us, we review them right here on the show, so you can see if Joe Patrick's pick was worth the shit or not. We'll find out, Gail. You've got a lot riding on this one, Gail
We're
Simone.
on thin fucking ice, Gail.
Only you can save us, Gail.
Gail, I have faith in you.
Excelsior! Oh.
That's it for THN 750. Next time, new comic reviews return to the show, and we're going to give you a sneak peek of our Patreon extra. In the meantime, join us for the THN Gang Hang. We do it on Saturdays at 11 o'clock Central Time. You can check out our Discord for details. Joe Patrick, what else can these nerds do at our Discord?
You can ruin pickles for all time thanks to a dumb Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles joke.
Ooh.
You can hit the gym so you can look like a badass reading Ronda Rousey's new graphic novel.
Boy, after her wrestling career, I know I've got to find out if she can write.
Or maybe you just want to answer the question of the week. This week's question is a no-brainer. As we record this, San Diego Comic-Con is in full swing. We want to know what was the most exciting piece of news to come out of this year's SDCC, in your opinion.
All right.
What's got you the most jazzed?
I love it.
I don't care if anything else gets announced. Now that I've seen that they're going back to the DC Bullet logo from the 70s, I'm just like, I'm on cloud nine. I don't give a
that
shit.
was pretty cool.
Please keep your question of the week suggestions coming and sign up for our Discord with the link at twoheadednerd.com/Discord. We'll talk about your answers on this week's Gang Hang. If you don't dig on the Discord, you can send an MP3 submission for the Comic Pushers or for Ask a Nerd or for any of our segments to twoheadednerd@gmail.com, and we will put you on the show.
If you're new to the show and you still can't tell a Brainiac 4 from a Brainiac 22, don't worry, I can't either. And I assure you, listening to any more is not going to help. But the good news is, you can hear the entire run of THN in our digital longbox archive at twoheadednerd.com. THN is a listener-supported podcast. It wouldn't be possible without the generosity of donors like our longtime patron, Danny from Iowa. Is that wee lad Danny
Young
that
Danny.
grew into
He's all grown up now.
into a man? Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing
man
this
now.
too long.
If you like what you hear every week, it's easy to support the show. You can sign up to be a patron at patreon.com/twoheadednerd. It might be just the thing that turns you into a man. I know it changed Danny forever.
There's definitely a Brainiac 4, but you made up Brainiac 22.
Did I? Are you sure?
I mean, at least for now.
Yeah.
Before we go, our weekly shout out goes to friend of the show, comics creator, podcaster, and THN Discord regular, Tommy Trimbath, who has her first ever comic book launching on Kickstarter August 1st. That's right now. It's going right now as you hear this. The comic, which is called When We Transform, is a tale of loss, self-acceptance, and personal transformation, perfect for fans of Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, and Radiant Black.
Common Writer. Say it with me.
Whatever.
Common
You
Rider.
knew what I meant. Big Bad Beetleborgs, whatever. Reimagining transforming superhero tropes through a transgender lens.
I love it.
It explores what happens when a hero enters their transformation sequence but doesn't come out on the other side. Ooh.
Yeah.
The campaign should be live right now as you're hearing this, and we will have the link in the show notes. So be sure to show Tommy your support and snag your copy of the first of its kind, get this, special edition color changing cover.
That's never been done before? Really?
I don't think I have ever seen a color changing comic book cover before.
Yeah, I don't recall one. I don't know how it would work either, come to think of it.
She's working with some company that does like color
Like if you get it
changing
wet, it changes colors or something?
Yeah, I don't know if you have to, I doubt you have to get it wet. But
Just dip it in your toilet and look at the colors
Sure.
change. Not so
word
great.
to you, Tommy. I hope for all the success for the Kickstarter. I cannot wait to read the book.
Until next time, true relievers, remember to pre-order your comics or your retailer might change the colors by dipping your stack in the toilet. This is the Two-Headed Nerd signing off.
Well, I mean, it'll definitely change
It'll
the color,
change the
but
color.
probably not in the way you want.
Will change the color.